Okay, all right. Mike. Welcome everybody to another edition of Convos with Bishop. I am Marvel Bishop, Mr. No Way But Up, the Master Delegation, the Ace of all trades, here with another fabulous episode with a person that I actually only known for maybe less than 2 weeks, but I feel like I've known him forever. My friend, that's becoming a friend, I should say, Mr. Marlon Avery.
Yes, sir.
Engineering director for
LightShip.
LightShip Capital, a venture capitalist firm, right? And first of all, before I even get to that, how are you, sir?
I'm great, man. You know,
definitely. What's your mental state right now, from 1 to 10? How you feeling?
You know, let's go at 8.
Okay. All right.
You know, the journey of building things and stuff, it kind of has ups and downs.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I'm coming out of, just kind of like a difficult process and stuff, like building some stuff, mostly with AI and everything. So right now I'm good though. Yeah.
Do you feel like there'd be times where like we as entrepreneurs, or we as just people who are either entrepreneurial, like we kind of bite too much? Like, we bite too much off of what we can chew, basically.
Yeah.
Too many times?
It's funny. I think I kind of work better in that. You get the best out of me when you kind of put too much on my plate. Actually, you get the best out of me when I have no clue how to do something. So if you put something in front of me and I automatically know how to do it, I'm usually going to procrastinate it. But if you put something in front of me and I have no clue what to do, how to do it, now I'm interested.
So it's funny because I actually just found out you're a Sagittarius, Team Sag.
Right.
We are masters of building planes in the air. That's literally what we do. That's our MO. We love doing that shit. So, number one, appreciate you actually opening up your house to me, and we're having this conversation. So, wanted to start off on, first of all, how we met. We've met recently, I believe about a week or maybe 2 weeks ago at an event at Red Rooster. Shout out to Red Rooster.
Yeah, for sure.
I met you through Miss Lisa, the bearer of people. She just knows everybody. She's just like she's a Sag too, by the way.
Is she?
Yes, she's a Sagittarius. Yeah, man, Sagittarius all day, man. We just know how to cultivate and get people around, and I'm not gonna lie, man. For like the 5 minutes I spoke to you, man, I definitely had that feeling that you were just like a really genuine dude. So really appreciate you having that conversation with me. And honestly, now we're here. I'm like, yo, you wanna have a conversation? Because you just have this aura about you that like you just give so much value, so much information, and a presence about you as well too. But before we talk about your current endeavor right now, I wanted to go back a little bit, talk about your beginnings. And your process and your journey of how you pretty much got here today. Yeah. So if I drop my phone one more time, I'm gonna throw it. So please.
Yeah, man. So my background, kind of like going all the way beginning. My mom had me at 14 years old. Wow. So mom's had me at 14 years old. Initially, right then, dad went to prison, and so dad, up until like 30 years old, spent kind of like nearly half my life and stuff in and out in jail. And so we grew up I was born in Germany. We grew up in Texas and stuff, military. My mom's 14, so we was going everywhere with my grandmother. And so we grew up in Texas and stuff where mom's and dad side of the family and stuff was. And so from there, transitioned to West Atlanta, Douglasville specifically. Like when I was like 14, so like early high school there. And then, it's interesting in high school, something really interesting kind of start to unveil is that when I was in high school, I was extremely bored. And so bored to the fact that, again, I wouldn't even try because I would look at the year's curriculum, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. Then I'm like checked out, And so from there, went. I didn't graduate high school. Got my GED. As soon as I kind of completed high school, if you will, went to jail. Was facing 10 years in prison.
Really?
Was facing 10 years in prison.
Wow.
And so kind of almost following the flip stuff to pops and stuff.
Oh shit.
So
okay.
Spent a little time in jail, got out, and then I was like, all right, cool. That's not the direction of stuff I want to go down and stuff. And so it was interesting too because you got to like, even to this day, you got a lot of family and friends who kind of like wrote Marlon off like, oh, he's done. You know, at 18, well, yeah, I just turned 18 years old. Like, oh yeah, he's done. Yeah, he can be just like his dad. You know, all different things like that. And so for whatever reason, that negative conversation will, if you will, inspired me. And so, so from there, I got my GED. Right after getting my GED, mom's got sick. She got like a brain tumor, which kind of took her out and stuff for a year. So I kind of like took a step back, you know, to make things. She's
still around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
She's
good.
good.
God bless.
Yeah. And so, so from there went down to school down to South Georgia. Went to a small community college, 2-year college, and studied mathematics and stuff while I was there. Interesting. They sent I left high school with like a 1.7 GPA. Yeah.
1.7.
1.7. I was just completely uninterested.
Jesus Christ.
My focus was basketball and girls.
Okay.
You know, so went to college. Everybody was like, yo, college is going to be hard, all different things like that. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I was like, yo, you know, coming out of jail, I was like, you know what? I want to play college basketball. You know, so basically I had a why now. What I wanted to do and everything. So my first report card, they sent home to my mom instead of giving it to me. And my mom, she calls me cussing me out.
Because of the 1.7?
No, 1.7 was in high school.
Okay, in high school. Okay,
yeah. So she calls me cussing me out and everything. And so I'm like, Mom, I don't understand nothing you're saying. What happened and everything. She's like, yo, I thought you was stupid this whole time, everything. How do you have
opposite. Okay, I got you.
How do you have like a 3.7 GPA in college?
Uh-huh.
You know, and I'm like, it's kind of easy.
Yeah.
You know, so now I had a purpose, I had a why. And so that was a big learning moment for me because I learned then you can't just put task in front of me. You have to put a mission in front of me behind a why, and then you're going to get the best out of me. And so from there, I went down to South Florida, small college down, Ave Maria University, played collegiate football and basketball and stuff down there. Which is pretty much like an Ivy League. You know, they got like a bunch of the teachers and stuff to come open this university, a bunch of teachers from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all the things like that. While I was there, studied mathematics as well. While I was there, God gave me this idea. I'm a big fan of sneakers. So sneakers like Air Jordans, Nikes, LeBrons. I wanted a way where I could view my collection and other people's collection on my phone. And so at the time, I didn't know anything about apps. The only thing I knew was how to download them and stuff. And so initially I was like, maybe I should build it. You know, maybe I should build it. And just kind of ran away from it. But it got to the point where it was like a daily migraine where I just couldn't let it go. And so, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to start to figure it out. So I started to kind of like put screens together. I don't know if you do remember Microsoft Paint?
Of course. That
was my first kind of UI I built. Was it Microsoft
Really?
Paint. That's how much I didn't know.
Oh shit! Okay.
You know? And so built that Microsoft Paint, sent it to my phone. I was like kind of figuring out how it's going to work, how it's going to look, how it's going to feel, and all different things like that. So, man, I got to work at Google. He was like, "What do you design this in?" I was like, "Microsoft Paint." He was like, "Yeah, don't do that no more." He's like, "Yeah, don't do that no more." He was like, "Go lower Photoshop quickly."
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, "Cool."
Photoshop is like the standard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So went to go learn Photoshop and kind of teach myself to like design UI, UX and stuff of it. And so just really started to build it and started like figure it out to the point where I became obsessed about it. Like I would go to the mall every single weekend, find somebody who had sneakers on and show them and ask them anything about the app, you know, everything. So there was customer insight, which I didn't know what I was doing and stuff in the time. And so,
which is like a sad thing anyway. It's like
right.
You just figure shit out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
building planes while I was in the air, man.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
So from there, so from there I was like, all right, I don't know enough about apps. I want to learn more. So I wanted to go work for an app company, which I did. I went to go work for Uber, Uber office in Atlanta.
Okay.
And so while I was there, as soon as I got there, just kind of how my mind works is I built a feature within the Uber platform. At the time, Uber Pool had just got introduced to the world.
Rest in peace to Uber Pool, by the way.
Right.
No, for real. Hey, just be real.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Uber Pool just got released to the world. And so at the time, if driver A got in the car and didn't like driver B for whatever reason, there was no opportunity for driver A or driver B to rate their experience separately from the driver. And so I built a process in there that would allow that, submitted it to them, and they accepted it.
Nice.
It was used globally through the platform.
Okay.
And so from there, I was like, I know a little something. You know, I know a little something.
A little more than something,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah,
Yeah, I know a little something.
Built a platform within the platform of Uber. Hello?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know a little something. And so I was like, all right. So around that time too, I don't know if you know the Instagram comedian HaHa Davis. HaHa Davis was like exploding. You know.
What year was that?
This is like 2017,
17?
18.
Yeah, no, he was hot as fish grease back then.
Yeah. So he was exploding. And so he was exploding. And so, you know, if you don't know HaHa, he's the person, anytime you hear somebody say the double words, like, oh, that's a chair, or that's a car.
Oh, you know, that's like an inside joke, basically.
Yeah, he's made that up. Like that, kind of like that lingo.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. So me and my boy, we used to watch HaHa like every single day. Like, it was just hilarious. And so I was like, man, he needs his own like platform, his own communication. And so I was like, man, it'd be dope if he had his own iOS emojis, like stickers app and everything. So I was like, why not? Pitched it to him and his manager. They was like, yeah, let's do it. So let's do it. So I was like, bet.
2 for 2.
So pitched it to him. They said, let's do it. I flew to Detroit. He's in Detroit. I flew to Detroit. Got some content and everything, how I was going to do it, broke it down to him. About a month later, we released the app. And so released the app like on a Sunday or something. I woke up like a Thursday morning and like on some manifest shit, like something told me, check the app store. Check the app store. So I'm like, all right. So I get my phone, I'm just scrolling through, and I don't even know what I'm looking for. I'm scrolling through. Finally I get to it, #1 app in the app store. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, holy shit. At the time, Black Panther had just released that summer.
That was 18.
Yeah, they had just released that summer.
Yeah.
They had a similar app, and we had bumped Black Panther down to #2. I got a screenshot of it. It's still on my Instagram. I got a screenshot of it.
Savages are petty too, man. Hey, listen, man. Yeah. We know like how to, like, you know what I'm saying, like cultivate our wins, man. But when we gotta, like, you know, get that petty on, we will. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, I was like, okay, that's crazy. So from there, I was like, you know what, man, I need to stop kind of doubting myself. I need to dive into like this coding dictionary thing, like full time and stuff. And so I did the most. I moved back to Florida, South Florida, moved in with a buddy, minimized all my bills to the lowest possible they can go. And I focused on coding for 6 to 8 hours a day for the entire year. Everything.
How was that? Like, how was that process of just diving in and just like really focusing on like coding?
It was probably one of the most challenging but most necessary things I've ever done in my life.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Elaborate.
So, you know, with teaching yourself how to code, it's a language. So it's compatible to trying to teach yourself Japanese, you know, or Italian, something like. It's a language. It's the language of the computers. And so, like, the lingo is not necessarily built for the every day-to-day human language. Now, there's things that kind of gets closer to it, but essentially you got to learn. It's a steep learning curve.
Okay. So to real quick, so the language is more so like zeros and ones, right?
So that's binary.
Okay.
So binary is what our grandparents and stuff did. You know, now we deal with syntax. So syntax is, you know, kind of what you see, you know, it still has a lot of English and stuff into it. So it may say function, add button, semicolon, something like that, and it'll tell what you do and stuff inside that. So that's syntax is where we are right now. So I learned going through that process is when you learn how to code, teach you how to code, there's two things that you got to learn. You got to learn the syntax for sure, which honestly is the easiest part. And when I say easy, it's comparable to this next thing. The mental journeys of learning how to code. That's the hardest part because there is no recipe for the mental journeys and everything. So for me, it was, okay, Marlon, your 5th grade teacher tried to put you in remedial classes. Are you sure you can do this? You got a 1.7 GPA in high school. Are you sure you can do this? It's those things from your own experiences that's kind of like, challenge you every step of the way where you're not even thinking about it.
And I'm pretty much sure that like you also had other people that was kind of like doubting you as well too.
Interesting enough, I secluded almost everybody during that process. I got away from everybody, particularly because there was nobody in my space. Shout out to my friends, nothing against them. There was nobody in my space who was learning how to code or knew how to code. So I had to kind of like, space myself away from everybody because I didn't want that type of energy. I was already, like walking on branches here.
Yeah, that's and I'm not trying to make this a Sagittarius podcast, but like that but that's literally like the essence and like the code I would say when it comes to like us, like whenever we need to like really succeed and really push through and like get to the next echelon, like seclusion and like just cutting people and just the whole world out of itself is the part of getting to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like you had to do that, especially when it comes to like learning like a new language, which is code. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
so went through that process, and like I say, it was difficult. It was interesting because that was probably the most rewarding things I did because not only did I gain a new skill, I gained a new definition of perseverance, and I gained a great definition of perspective and stuff. And so just kind of like going through life and everything, seeing how I live and other folks and stuff live. And so from there, I went to go work for a company called Treehouse, which is an ed tech company where they give online courses and stuff there. I ran a program over there that were teaching minorities, mostly black folks, how to code. And so we will teach them stuff how to code in 8 to 10 months, and then we will place them at jobs and stuff afterwards. And so that program was really interesting. It was really rewarding because before I got there, the program, 30% of the program was on track to finish. It wasn't doing well. And when I got done, 80% finished.
Nice.
And so almost all of those engineers who went on the track to go work at MailChimp are still at MailChimp right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And so went to that program, I ran that program and stuff over there, transitioned away from there, went over to Udacity, which is the second largest ed tech company, which I found out later, this is interesting. This is when I found out later, I was kind of like a technical manager of courses. I found out later that I was running 50% of the engineering courses for our entire team. I didn't know that.
Wait a minute, why didn't you know that?
So we had like a team of 8 or so, like 8 to 10 and stuff in our particular team. And so I had my job and stuff I'm at now came and made me an offer, and I was like, hey, I'm a shift away. So I put in my 2 weeks, and they made me like 3 or 4 offers to get me to stay. And so my direct manager, she was like, hey, what did HR say? I was like, maybe this offer. And so she was like, yeah, that makes sense for somebody who's 50% of the team. And I was like, wait, what did you just say? She's like, you're 50% of the team. Remind you, it's a team of 8.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah.
She said,
you're basically doing all the damn work.
Based on the difficulty of your courses and the amount of students that are in your courses, you yourself are 50% of the team. And I said, get me the hell out of here. I was so bothered. I was so bothered by that. I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm out. I'm out." You know, so yeah, from there, that's what I learned. I was running 50% of the engineering courses and stuff, you know, on hours.
And not nearly getting as compensated as you should be. Not even close.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I really feel like this man has like built this city on rock and code. Like, seriously. Oh, nobody got that joke? Dipset, not even what? Oh, diplomats? Really? Anyway, okay. So after that, right? When? Okay, so we can go kind of like maybe two directions here, because the story is amazing, by the way. Like, it's very, very telling. I really want to get into when, because okay, so your last post that you actually just posted, right? With, you know, your nice headshot and everything else too. With what you said, I really want to know, when did that happen at that moment in your life? So I'm going to read it for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Give me 1 second. Hopefully I can, let's see here. No pressure, because, you know, legibility is kind of crazy over here. You know what I'm saying? All right, so. Okay. So you posted this at June 21st. Fun fact, I signed my offer letter with LightShip Capital a year ago on Juneteenth. Honestly, I didn't realize what I've done until Tech Which X introduced me as engineering director at the largest ever venture capitalist fund dedicated to growing Midwest minority-led startups. I immediately froze. In parentheses, life hack, get you some friends who will not allow you to dim your light. I want to stop there before I continue. Talk about that. Now, are we too far in? Are we like behind as far as finding out your friends who are really your friends and not the people who really just try to shit on you?
So interesting you say that. I was in Atlanta before I went to Udacity. I was in Atlanta, and I had two people who I looked up to, X being one of them, and another person, which you can call him person A. And so X, she's one of the head AI researchers and stuff at Google, focused on ethics and machine learning and biases. And so me and her met years ago. She's an incredible, dope developer, an even better human being. So me and her met, and this person A, me and that individual stuff met. We can actually kind of around the same time. So when I was going through this process of interviewing and everything. So I had, I think, like 3 or 4 offers on the table. It was like Udacity, Quora, Twitter came later, Dropbox, and I think one other company, I can't remember, something like that. So I had a couple different offers on the table. So I told both individuals, you know, what was on the table. And so X was like, bro, that's great. Okay, we need to do this now. You need to start thinking about this. I need you to introduce this person. Okay, we need to do this next and everything. She has consistently figured out a way how to celebrate me in the moment without not allowing me to stay in the moment. So she would celebrate me and then immediately be like, okay, cool, now we need to go transition to this. And I'm like, damn, like, can I get a drink? Like,
oh, no, man, there's no way but up, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely.
But she has consistently challenged me and stuff in that way. Person A, when I told this individual, kind of got quiet, and at first was like, okay, that's dope, and it's kind of like almost kind of like a shell in, and I didn't know what that was. I found out later that I was going to be making more money than this person, and the person felt some type of way.
Hating ass motherfucker.
And so what's interesting, what happened with that friendship, it went like this.
Of course, as soon as they find out that, hey, you're doing better than them, then it's like, oh man, no, like, this can't happen.
Yeah,
and you know what? In any shape or form, I have to pretty much make sure that I will not be helping that person, because if I do, that person will actually succeed even more.
Right.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Right. And so, so I took the role, obviously, as you'd asked. So when I took the role here at LightShip, it was on me and Brian, general partner at LightShip. We've been knowing each other for some years now, and so he reached out to me like months prior. It's like, we started a show called Twitch Pitch. It's like a virtual kind of like Shark Tank. This is kind of where everything was locked down with COVID. I was doing some live coding on Twitch and stuff before. He's like, I remember you doing live coding. Would you be interested in helping us? And so I was like, for sure. So went in the process of helping them, getting things going. Little did I know that was quote unquote my interview and stuff. And so, so afterwards, after that season was over, he's like, hey, we want to make your offer as you join the team, looks like that. So I said for sure. And so they sent me the offer letter on Juneteenth. I was actually going to meet with X because she had just took a new role inside Google, and she was moving to LA. So I was going to celebrate X, and then, kind of end up having to, she ended up celebrating stuff with me as well. But I remember that we was at, I can't remember the name of the park. It was in Oakland and stuff. And so she introduced me, and she was like, hey, this is Marlon, engineering director, LightShip Capital, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, who is she talking about?
Didn't even tell you first. You know what I'm saying? Hey, wait.
Who is she talking about?
Yeah.
And I froze, and I was like, oh, shit, what the hell did I just do?
So that's where like the imposter syndrome kind of like came in, right?
Facts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Because that happens to a lot of people, because sometimes they get into certain situations that they feel like they're not really ready for.
Yeah.
Or they're not even like deserving.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like even, God in the universe, they have plans for you.
Right.
Not you.
Right.
Like, whatever plans you got going on, like fuck that shit. Right. It's all about what the universe and God has for you.
Right.
So, but at the same time too, that could actually have some type of like, tug of war feeling with inside you, because it's like, yo, like, no, like, I ain't ready for this shit. Like, why are you even doing this to me? So like, talk about that feeling that you had when you had that imposter syndrome, and how that kind of like, did it change you? Did it mold you into a better person? Did it limit you?
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is a very interesting thing, because it's a reality. I can only speak for like engineers and stuff, developers on their side, but it's a reality because it with engineering particularly, there is no end goal. There's always something to learn. Programming languages is always adding a new version. Okay. There's always new libraries and all different things like that. There's always AI, blockchain, all different things, stuff that's coming, and stuff where you have to develop or learn how to talk to systems and stuff. And so it's a living organism. And so particularly with the imposter syndrome, I'm an individual, and it may sound crazy, but I just told you with the app and stuff I built, which it was called Recure, where we did learn, we got to like 5,000 monthly users, with the Haha Davis platform, with the Treehouse and Udacity. I honestly, to this day, and it's gonna sound crazy, I still feel like I haven't done nothing in life.
Okay, wait a minute, no, we got to stop that right now. Like, wait a minute. How old are you again?
33.
Okay, I already know how old you are, but we have to say that again. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So, like, stop the nonsense.
Right.
Even your wife is like, "Yo, what the fuck?" You probably go through this like every day, right? Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, listen. So one of the things that I do, right, in this platform, and what I do is like, especially for people I feel like who is deemed necessary, not even far as like the process, it's all about, yes, we're talking about imposter syndrome, but at the same time, like, you have to understand that like and we're kind of turning a little bit of different direction, but it's fine. It's all good. Like your pedigree and what you have done, like there's people that have died that's like 75, 80 years old that hasn't even done a quarter of what you've done.
So it's interesting. I get that.
I don't think you do though.
No, watch this though. I get that. So like even where I come from in Texas, I grew up in a small town called Cleveland. You know, and so Cleveland's one of those neighborhoods where we went to sleep and leave our door open. You know, and everything. So the neighbors could whoop you behind. You know, one of those type of small towns like that. So in that neighborhood, a great majority of those people are either in jail, some are dead, or the big win for them is either working at Walmart or the prison.
Okay.
You know, I get that. For whatever reason, I'm not sure what it is. I understand that I come from that, and I've been blessed, you know, I can't take credit. My mother had the fortitude to take me out of that situation and stuff, and I've been blessed to come from that. But for whatever reason of the life trajectory I'm going, it still feels like I can't compare my situation to where I'm going. I can only compare my situation to where I'm going.
I got you.
And with that, I still feel like I'm not there yet.
It's okay to not feel like you need to, or to feel like you have a lot more to do, but I do feel like in this the state of the Black community that we're in right now, and like the mindset that it's never enough, like for what we do or who we are as people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's really, really important to at least celebrate your wins and give yourself. You don't even have to get anybody else like for you to get your flowers. You have to give yourself some flowers first. You know what I'm saying? Because like, you know, you have to be able to enjoy these wins at the same time. But so, with that being said, yes, like you're at a point right now where like you feel like you haven't really accomplished anything, but you have. So at the same time, how do you balance that non-complacency, but at the same time still being realistic? You personally, how do you balance that?
Project by project. So I've learned that you're going to get the best out of me, like I said earlier, if you put something I don't know how to do, something challenging and stuff in front of me. Anytime I'm getting to a repetition of just doing easy things, it's time for me to go, you know, or it's time for me to go like learn something new, or like what it may be. And so I grow through that with, you know, just kind of like I built a digital business card company, and actually not.
What's that fake for? What happened? You want to share it, or you can move on? We can move on. It's all good. We don't have to. It's up to you.
It's in a process.
Off air.
No, I could. By the time there's lunch, it'll probably be official.
Okay. All right.
It's in the process of being acquired.
Okay.
Right now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so yeah, I built that, you know, that company and that technology and stuff. And so it's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I kind of have to put myself on the edge of, you know, curiosity and chaos for me to kind of keep moving forward.
Got you. So speaking about moving forward, where we're at right now with your newest venture, with okay, hold on, I don't fuck up the name. LightShip.
LightShip. Yeah.
Ooh, okay, good. LightShip. I just looked at it too. It's crazy.
Right.
So LightShip Capital. Let's talk about that. So you are the engineering director, right, of LightShip Capital, the biggest venture capitalist in the Midwest when it comes to minority startups, right? A lot of people who think of venture capitalists, hedge funds, whatever it is, but there's a clear difference between hedge fund and venture capitalists. So let's just talk about venture capitalists. They just think about, you know, from the outside in, at least for me, because we had to talk about this before, just like, you know, the funding part, you know, but there is a lot of, I guess, intricacies that do happen, and a lot of other methods and processes that do happen within it, other than you just getting funded.
Right.
So I wanted to really dive into your specialty of what you do in the engineering part, and to give us, you know, to shed more light on that.
Yeah, for sure. So LightShip Capital, we're the largest minority-focused venture capital firm in the Midwest, ran by Black women. And so, how our things work? We're considered a full-stack venture capital firm. And so you have a traditional venture capital, firms, and stuff, and you got a full-stack venture capital firm. So with us, not only do we'll write the check. And so, but we'll dive into the operation side of it too, as well. So we'll dive into like the marketing, the engineering, the design, everything to help your business propel. And so, me particularly, my role kind of like lays out of 3-part sales. And so, what happens is, I do along with the rest of the team, because I don't do the due diligence and everything. I only kind of like dive in when I'm requested to, when it's a big like engineering product. I do some of the due diligence, and so I'll ask, kind of like technical questions of like kind of where you are, where you're going to, what the current team is, and so I try to like get an understanding of, are you kind of like thinking until you making it, or do I see that you can really build this out, this product, the service, or stuff, whatever you're doing. Afterwards, if we do make the investments, what happens from there is that. From there, I dive in and to help you overcome any technical gaps and stuff that you have. And so that may be anything from bug fixing to products and anything like that, but also to maybe technical talent, as well. So I help pair like any engineer stuff that you may need to, help you move forward to as well.
So what is what is like the difficult part when it comes to
everything?
Okay, all right. So let's get into that there real quick. So when you say everything,
everything,
yeah. So I feel like you're the person that kind of like just glues everything together and makes sure everything just holds still, or just operates efficiently.
So when I got offered the role, I reached out to one of my friends. He's VP of engineering at Live Nation. I reached out to some people I knew at Google, and I reached out to somebody I knew at Airbnb, lead up at Airbnb. So I reached out to 3 different engineers who are well ahead of me in the space, have, more experience and stuff than me. And each person said, yeah, I didn't know you can be a software engineer at a venture capital firm. Yeah, you're going to let us know like what that's like, what does it entail. And so the role itself is still fairly new to the space. And so it's difficulties entail because it's a trailblazing role. Not only that, you have X amount of portfolio companies that you need to support, and make sure that they're good and that they have their needs and stuff met. And then also internally, you're building different applications, software, AI, and everything to help us make faster, better, quicker decisions and stuff as well. And so, all those things kind of like wrap together. It's not your typical role where you're working at Facebook or something, where you go from like engineer 1 to 2 to 3 to manager, and that you can kind of like lay out a trajectory.
Got it.
It's a very entrepreneurial spirit and stuff, here at Focus in Software Engineer, which, kind of like adds on to a layer, difficulties with it.
Number one, I congratulate, you and everybody else that's a part of that, company, because there are not as many, representation when it comes to trying to really instill and enrich, I should say, like the minorities in the Black community, and giving them the black community, a opportunity to try to succeed, because obviously there's like disparaging, like differences or like disproportionate disadvantages, I should say, when it comes to white opportunities.
2%.
Basically,
yeah. 2% of venture capital market goes to minorities.
Yeah,
less than 2%.
So number one, I applaud you guys for trying to, like really, getting down 10 toes down and trying to, combat that. But at the same time, so it's definitely like a very, very low percentage. There definitely, there is opportunity, but what can a person like me or anybody else that is of influence that can I guess, help to further that 2%, to make it 5%, 10%, 15%, because like we need to at least, continue, start somewhere, but also continue somewhere, like the next 10, 15, 20 years, like I don't want to hear that number to still be 2%.
Right.
Because that's one of the things we need to be able to flourish as a community. So I know it's kind of it's a loaded, multi-layered question I'm asking.
Yeah. So we, particularly with Black folks, we do a fairly good job of studying markets that we're interested in and eventually taking them over. So we can see this from sports to to different acting and all different things like that. And plus myself, I would say that I think we need to do more focus on studying the big companies, the big exits, the big acquisitions, and what they're doing, and model ourselves after that. We don't go in the Black community. We don't model ourselves ever after the person who's on the end of the bench. We always model ourselves after LeBrons, the Kobe's, the MJ's, and stuff, and then we shoot for that. I think we need to step into that realm of doing the same thing with business, startups, engineering, and stuff too as well, and just start to study those and stuff, model that, because for whatever reason we figure out the blueprint, if you will, and stuff like how to kind of necessarily kind of take over a market, anything from, like I said, sports to fashions like that. I think we just need to transition that blueprint over to business, and it seems like we're doing so right now.
What do you think is next for other like venture capitalist firms that do want to start within the Black community? What advice, what do you think that needs to happen right now?
Yeah, I don't think we have. So this is just my own opinion. I think we have room and everything. We have plenty enough room and everything for venture capital firms and everything to, be standard venture capital firms where they write the check. But I also think we need more of operations. I think we need more venture capital firms and stuff who's going to dive into the operation stuff and to different venture studios and stuff or whatever it may be to help these startups until they kind of get to point A to point B to be ready for Series A, Series B, C, like whatever it may be. So I think we need more of that, and particularly, especially if it's minority focused, so too as well. And so that may come in back to engineering, design, legal, and stuff we're working to as well.
So when it comes to that, then that's less angel and more in the dirt,
Yeah.
Now, real quick, for me, as a person who owns multiple companies and that does multiple things, wouldn't you get some type of pushback for that a little bit? Especially because you're giving me money, I get it, you're giving me funding, but then also you're gonna be in bed with me as far as operations concerned, that could be, for me, I may feel not a type of way, but I'll be a little bit kind of pushed back, whatever. Okay, I understand you give me $500K, but now you actually want me to run my business, because you know how certain people are.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I don't know if that's something that you ever dealt with.
Yeah, it's not mandatory.
Okay.
Okay, and stuff how we work. It's a we work for our companies. So we try to do a good job of making sure it's known that if you are running into hurdles, because they have their own staff.
Yeah.
If you are running into hurdles, we can help here. We can speed up this process here. We can make this solution stuff over here and present it to you and everything. So yeah, it's not mandatory.
But also, here's another thing too. I kind of want to flip it back. The presence of certain people, certain Black people, just go keep it a buck. Keep it a buck now. I might get a little trouble here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There is a level of stubbornness, and there's a level of ignorance as well too, where okay, you know what, I can do this shit all by my fucking self.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's you need the professionals to be able to get in and to help you out. So, and I'm not saying that only Black people are freaking stubborn and ignorant. I know, obviously everybody, but we're talking about minorities here.
Right.
for me, for my branding agency and for what I do, at times I do get that pushback from our people because they feel like they can do everything them damn selves. And I feel like that goes from a trauma. That's a trauma response. That's maybe back when from maybe slavery days, from all the shit that we pretty much deal with.
Yeah.
Are you following me here?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like a one size fits all answer of what we can do, but I honestly think that is something that is a big underlying issue that we don't really want to talk about, where we, as people, we've always been black men, black women, we've always been like the super women and super men of everything and like the status quo. But then that right there, that mentality has actually forced us to always be Superman when we actually do need to be like a secondary, or we need to be like a Robin to Batman, so we can actually get the help that we actually deserve.
So it's interesting you said that. I think you're onto something is where it kind of like leans into trauma, because even our community, the superheroes and stuff of our community a lot of times is black women and stuff, and so if she's coming if a black woman is coming to the aspect of having a company, more than likely she's using that company as her baby, and so asking to hand over a piece of that baby there that can be challenging and stuff too as well. So it comes down to a factor of trust, and so what we do here is that we try to show up and show out, let them know we have, the best interest, and we can help and everything, but we also are respectful of people's opinions, people's process and things like that.
It's a healthy balance of a relationship at the end of the day, and there needs to be, what I'm trying to say is, like there needs to be compromises on both sides.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're just not, happy marriage. Even with us, you're just not going to know it all, everything. And so we invest into, we invest into the expert or whatever, like lane they're in. So not only are we helping them, but we're also learning from them. So how they think and how they're approaching, this particular solution they brought to the world.
Got it.
And so yeah, with that, it definitely has its challenges.
Yeah. But there's definitely gonna be challenges no matter what. But I do believe that with the company that you're a part of right now, and all the other, fabulous people that's, a part of it as well too, we're definitely in the right direction of what we need to be, and hopefully within the next 5 or maybe even 10 years, the goal is to try to make that 2% to 3%, 4%, 5%. And the only way we can definitely do that is, definitely work together and have a common goal. So about to wrap up. This has been phenomenal. I appreciate you, my man. I wanted to get into a little bit before we wrap up. Any shameless plugs, anything whatsoever, as far as any, as you being the fire sage that you are with the million projects that you got going on, that you want to shed light on, that you got going on, or anything like that before we wrap up.
So yeah, let me say this. Rounding back, I am a individual who comes, my mom, got pregnant with me at 14 years old. My dad spent, a majority of my life and stuff in and out of prison. I didn't graduate high school, I got my GED. I was facing 10 years in prison. And then, I kind of started to turn things around. I am in a process right now of building one of the first, if not only, AI specific, and I can't say what it is, but AI specific projects internally at our company. The reason I say that is this is also a kid who left high school with 1.7 GPA.
Yeah.
Taught myself how to code, and kind of get into this place and stuff now. Lately I've been working on stuff in, AI, and I say all to say is that if this country dude from Texas can do it.
Yeah.
And I know it's cliche, but much more people who are, can probably understand the concepts better than I can do it stuff too as well. And we need more people and stuff into the AI realm, into engineering and stuff too as well, because it's growing. AI, real quick, AI is the second coming of the internet, and I don't think people are paying. Scratch that. I don't think Black folks are paying that much attention to what's going on. It is a buzzword. It's something cool to click on, but are you reading the documentation? Are you seeing what's under the layer? Are you actually seeing what's happening behind the scenes? What's the potential of stuff that what could happen, so behind the scenes and stuff. And so we're talking about everything shifting from healthcare to crypto to all the different things and stuff that have potential shift, to how police and stuff, how they start doing arrests 5 years from now. We're talking about all the different things and everything. And majority of these things are currently being built not only without Black folks, but without Black folks in mind, to, mitigate, things like bias and, things like that. And so
it sounds like, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to transition out because this could be a whole other conversation. It sounds like what you're trying to allude to is that AI can be like the key to like Black salvation. Low key.
There's opportunities there for sure. If Black folks take a position and a stance of learning it and start developing stuff on top of it, there's opportunity. That's the whole reason that's one of the reasons I started learning how to code, because I understand the generational shift and stuff that it was going to take for me to learn how to code. Yeah. So now taking one generation step to another one and stuff now with AI, and then Lord to tell me what it is the next thing, but it has that opportunity and stuff too as well. And so we're gonna find out. Mr. Avery, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, bro.
This has been phenomenal. We're gonna have to do another one sooner or later. For sure. Because I have what you just said. I have a whole other set of questions I have, but we don't have any time because we're about to kick it and have a good time. Where can we find you on Instagram? Where can we find you real quick?
Marlon.Avery on Instagram. I think it's Marlon_Avery on Twitter.
Okay, gotcha.
Shoot me a message and stuff. Shoot me a DM if you got any questions, concerns, or anything like that. I'll try to respond on every single one.
All right, cool. Thank you, my guy. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Guys. No way but up.